given the fact that it's so innovative and the technology is so radical and we are so far behind, we cannot afford to have the stance that we currently have towards something like this. We can be doing a lot more with this in terms of social infrastructures. Right now, there's a very massive need, and I'm not saying this lightly, there's a very massive need for social media companies and spaces to be decentralized. As a government, as a people, as a space, we are doing very little to take advantage of this technology to build things like that, which can pretty much bring the world to us. You don't understand how much power you have as a public figure, right? How much influence you have over the growing child, over the growing mind. And that's a power to shape society. So I've been doing content a long time.
Okay.
In my head, I think at some point I tried stand up. Yeah. We grew up in a time where that your family don't have it does not mean that you will be whining about it. The things are very different now. We agree with ourselves. Monogamy used to mean one partner for life. Now it is one partner at a time. It's rubbish. It really is rubbish. If at 20 you've dated 4 people, you will never be monogamous. Never.
Hello and welcome to Side Talk. My name is Jude Thomas Dawam. As usual, we sit with great minds and talk about the greatness of life, the greatness of Nigeria and the world beyond. Today, I have someone as well. I'm going to introduce the person after I tell you, and I ask you to please subscribe in case you're not subscribed to this channel. Just hit that thing that says subscribe there, and I assure you that every single episode of Side Talk is worth listening to. So right now, I'll just quickly introduce my guest. He is a social commentator. He is a blockchain expert. He is a photographer, a film person. I don't know if I call that right, but ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome Eric Gugua. Eric, you're welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here, my brother.
I hope I got that name right.
No, you did. A lot of people butcher it. When they kind of like introduce letters that are not even there. But
I know some
right.
There's a word in Igbo. I think they call it Gugua or something.
Gugua. That's the popular one.
That's the popular.
So my own doesn't have the O.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So it's just Gugua.
Thank God I did not say it that other way. All right, you're welcome to Side Talk.
Thank you very much.
So, like I said on Side Talk, we just talk about life in general and positivity. And if there's a bit of negative, we won't shy away from it because it might just teach someone something. All right, so let's begin from Eric Gugua. You are from a very interesting family and you've grown to become a man of your own. Can you tell us a little bit about growing up and how you got here?
It's pretty much been, for the longest time, I grew up with my mom and my brothers, my elder and my younger brother, and obviously growing up in that kind of a setting, the idea is, how do you go from being boy to man, especially without that immediate male figure, right? Because the idea is when you grow up in that kind of a setting, especially with a woman that loves you, who's your mom, they can give you the world, right? They can put their lives on the line, but a hole will still be there.
Interesting.
Right. So how do you go from, especially when she's having to deal with 3 young boys, right? 3 very stubborn.
Yeah, very stubborn. Yeah.
But yeah. So it's been quite a journey of discovery. It's been quite a journey of failure, because that's something that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Failure. It's been quite a journey of, crisis and renewal, right? A lot of falling down, a lot of standing up, a lot of stumbling onto. But yeah, we've to a very large extent found our places in the world, and we're still finding, I would say.
Interesting. That's a very interesting way to put that. Failure is something that people don't want to talk about. But now let's look. In case you don't know, his brother is Jide Kene, and that's something that they keep hiding from people. And I don't know if it's hiding or you just guys don't want to talk about it.
It's not a hiding thing. It's for me, right? So my brother, I think my brother loves me a little too much, I would say, because he's been my father for a very long time. I don't know if that's a thing with firstborn sons, but he takes it to another level. So he doesn't mind shouting my name from the top of, wherever, whenever. Me, on the other hand, I don't want you guys to see me and say, oh, that's Swanky's brother.
Swanky's brother.
Right? I want you to see me and say, oh, that's Eric. So it's been very intentional on my part. On his part, not so much. On my part, it's been very intentional because call it pride, call it whatever, right? I really, and this is something that for some, it's part of your journey. I always knew that it's not part of my journey. It's not a case of being under his shadow. It's not that, but it's also a case of intentionally, deliberately trying to chart your own course, especially knowing that our paths could lie very differently from each other. So it's only recently that I fully entered into the whole media space fully. I've always been interested in tech. I've always been interested in blockchain technology, not just cryptocurrencies, but the actual tech behind it. So I didn't find it expedient to immediately make that connection, but then you come to a point where it's inevitable. It has to shine through, and I'm embracing that season. He is one of the big loves of my life.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, then I would say that your mother played an amazing part in both your lives, because look at where Jide Kene is and look at where you are.
Absolutely.
And your brother as well. I'm sure he's doing pretty good. Now, how did you now get the male part, that dominant male that probably just pushed you away from too much of love from mommy?
So it's and this one is quite popular, but it's also very important that we talk about it, no matter how much it's already been talked about. There's two ways a man can become a man, or a boy can become a man. It's either a man makes him one, a man teaches him that, or he finds it out by himself. It doesn't matter how much love you get from a woman. There's a lot of self-discovery that you have to make. If not, you will approach masculinity from a feminine stance. I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with that. There's just some parts that you will discover for yourself. And so it took longer than it should have taken. It did, because I strongly believe that, or I believe to a certain degree that things that we had to find out on our own, things that I'm still actively finding stuff out, and these are very practical things. Like for instance, you have a visitor at home, and we never had a lot of visitors growing up.
Interesting.
It was a very close circle, right? Which has its pros
and cons,
and it definitely has its cons, and these cons begin to manifest when you begin to interact with the outside world. So I have a visitor right now in my house, and the idea of ikomadoji, like you offering stuff, something as basic as that, cola, it's alien to me, right? Or if someone comes over to my place, maybe a mentee, and spends quite some time, like a month or so, and is going back, the idea of this person is supposed to go back with something, I'm getting into the idea, discovering that. So these are very basic things. It may not sound huge, but it just gives you an insight into what other expressions it could have in other sides of life. So there's a lot of discovery going on. Like I said, and we're entering into it.
Interesting. So now let's go into you being on blockchain. What was that for you? And I said I was going to ask this question because usually people just say, I'm in blockchain technology, and we just have it wrapped up in a lot of things. So what's the difference between blockchain technology and Yahoo Yahoo boys? You understand?
Yeah.
Because recently a friend of mine called me and said her daughter brought a guy home and told the father that he's into blockchain, and the father says Yahoo Yahoo. So can you just explain to us what the difference is? Because a lot of people are lost in that.
So it's very important to bring these distinctions, because some things have become buzzwords, right? For instance, one very popular buzzword now is Web3.
Yeah, Web3.
So what is Web3? What's the idea of that? What does that even mean? So we would say that on a very basic level, Web 1 represented an age of technology where people could only read.
Okay.
Right, from the internet. And Web 2, which is what is most widespread right now and has been for the last 10, 20 years, I think, is the phase of the internet where people can read and write onto the internet. So you're not just reading information, you can also write.
Communicate.
So that's the basis of social media and all that. Now, Web 3 is the phase of the internet where you can read, you can write, and you can own. So blockchain technology, on a very basic level, represents that age of human evolution, or the internet's evolution, where we can own stuff not through intermediaries, not through big companies like Facebook, and then when you upload stuff there, it's on their server and they can take it down whenever they want to. But it represents a technology that retail guys, like the regular guy, can actually have stuff. This is yours and it cannot be tampered with. So the technology that makes that possible, blockchain is sometimes referred to as a trustless machine, where we don't need intermediaries. It just basically cuts out the middleman. So if I want to transfer money to you, my bank will have to vouch that I have that money, right?
Yeah.
And that from that money sends it to your bank. And there's a problem with money, and that problem is a problem of double spend. That after I have sent that money, I don't retain that value. It's also very important, right? It sounds very, but it's these are very
the easiest way to.
Yes. So it's like the technology that has managed to find a way to get human beings to interact one with another without the need of an intermediary or a middleman, which middlemen make a lot of money.
Yes.
Right? But yes, that technology, without going on a very high level, without going into the basics of it, is what blockchain technology is about. That's the idea of blockchain. So now, obviously, things are built on the blockchain or using that technology. E.g., very popular one would be cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
And that's become very widespread. That's brought a lot of negative PR because of the things that people have done with that. But then the idea is, whatever has the potential for good can also be twisted and made into something else. You can say that cryptocurrencies, a lot of scams are going on there, but cryptocurrencies only represent a fraction of the scams going on in the world. There is not crypto no reach fiat. Like crypto has not done nearly enough as what cash has done, but because of the novelty of it, because of especially the bad rep it started to get from the very beginning. I knew about Bitcoin through a scam.
Really?
My first interaction with cryptocurrency or blockchain was through a pyramid scheme that they wanted us to pay with Bitcoin. So I bought Bitcoin, right? The day I was now going to pay into the thing, they pulled the rug and went away with everybody's money. So I was left with the Bitcoin I bought. And that was how I left it there for like 2 years. Came back after, checked it again after 2 years. It had almost like 10x in value. I'm like, what is this? So it kind of like piqued my curiosity, and I wanted to find out more about not just the currency, but the underlying tech as well. So it's different in that it's not, blockchain is not about money, right? It's about the technology that makes the transfer of data, information across different people or systems immutable and, personalized. You can have access to something and it can truly be yours. Whether that's a land document, even though we're not there yet, whether that's land documents or electricity bills or, utility or transfer of whatever, just interaction on the internet, it can fully be on a ledger where everyone else can see that information, but no one else can change apart from the person who owns the wallet. That's
Interesting.
the idea
So
of it.
that is to say, from one buyer to a seller, from a seller to a buyer, from a buyer to a buyer, regardless.
From a person to a person. Because when we use buy and sell, we're kind of like limited to only finance.
I get
It's a lot more.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So now, do you think Nigeria is taking good advantage of the blockchain technology? Are we really aware of it?
So I wrote a research paper in 2023, and the title of my paper was Acceleration of Blockchain-Based Products and Services in West African Countries. And I carried out that research across 5 West African nations. And some of the findings are very profound. So obviously I've taken content and media, really serious in the last 1 year, 2 years, but it's still something that I'm very interested in because we are not nearly there. And given the fact that it's so innovative and the technology is so radical and we are so far behind, we cannot afford to have the stance that we currently have towards something like this. If we are going to take that leap in the next 10, 20, 30 years, then we should be looking into areas where the rest of the world, see the Igbo man in me want to come out.
We'll get to that guy very soon. I understand. Yeah.
The rest of the world is still sleeping on. That's what El Salvador has done. And to some extent, it's kind of like helped to some extent, right? So I think that we can be doing a lot more with this in terms of social infrastructures. Right now, there's a very massive need, and I'm not saying this lightly, there's a very massive need for social media companies and spaces to be decentralized. If you wake up any day, your account somebody has taken down your account for a reason that they don't even have to give you reason.
Yeah.
Right? These are problems, and they will only become bigger in the future. There is a massive need for that. And as a country, as a government, as a people, as a space, we are doing very little to take advantage of this technology to build things like that, which can pretty much bring the world to us. So while we're looking for FDI, we can also do stuff that makes everybody else interested in what we're building here. And we are not taking advantage of that to its fullest or even significantly.
So with all of this knowledge and understanding of blockchain, how did you find Eric, the social commentator, the Igbo, English-speaking man, and where did you find him from? Is it from Area Market?
Yeah, bro. So I've been doing content a long time.
Okay.
I've been doing content since, in the actual terms of it, since 2012.
Okay.
Strictly, as in the sense that we now understand what a content creator is, since 2012. But obviously, we've all been using social media before that, way before that. So along the way, you pick up different things. I believe that a man's journey, you will stumble on a lot of things, especially if you're somebody who is curious, which is something we must begin to encourage again in African homes, because curiosity is something that's not very encouraged in African culture. It, on a cultural level, I don't think it is, especially when you are curious beyond what is acceptable in the area. You now begin to ask questions about things that are not, and then question things that are as to why. So these, So I've been very curious, and curiosity leads you to stumble on quite a couple of things, a number of things. And one of those things, I've stumbled on photography, I've stumbled on videography, I've stumbled on tech, and and all that. And there is a confluence, or at least sometimes there's a confluence between all your personalities, or all the things that you're involved in. And for me, it all kind of meets at a point where you pass knowledge across. On a biological level, human beings exist to pass knowledge on to the next generation. On a biological level, cells, which is like the basic form of life, exist to pass knowledge on to the next set of cells, which is what we now know as adaptation or evolution, right? So the apex of success is that you are able to communicate that all you've learned. That's where the idea of a successor comes from. And so all of this for me kind of comes together at the point where I teach what I know. And if you now think about it, it's not a surprise seeing that I come from a line of teachers, right? Grandfather was a teacher, grandmother was a teacher, my mom is a lecturer. And so somehow it's found its expression in my person. And so all of these things that I know are just skills that can help me to communicate my value system, my belief, to see that society is helped, I would say. So it all comes together at the point. Content is just a tool. If content no day, we first still find another way communicate. So I found that guy when I was trying to see how to tell people about the stuff I've discovered about life during my short stay here. That's the idea of my content.
Nice. Now, there's one of your contents that I think you posted a video of the lady, the wedding ring, and you said something about wedding, and then the next morning you did another video and said your mom called you and said, so you got married without telling her. Now, why I'm bringing this story is, how do you bridge the gap from Eric, who is trying to educate people about the advantages and disadvantages of social media, and also the truth about what people should know? First, tell us the story of what happened with that video. Then also tell me how you get to deal with situations where people misunderstand your content.
Okay, so what happened with that particular piece of content is, so it's an annual festival that I do on my page, where I pretend to be married. It's an annual conference at this point. So anybody, if you go under the post and you see people being like, congratulations, there's always somebody who's saying, these ones are new. Because it's like every year I get married again. So the follow-up to that, so I did, and sometimes people want to pretend that they knew what they were doing all along. But in the journey of a creative guy or of an artist, you stumble onto things, and it's your ability to see stuff that other people don't see, or that the regular person would just overlook. That's what makes you genius, I would think. I'm not saying that I am.
You could be.
But I could be.
Yes.
I could be. I'll find out along the way. But then I posted that because there's this thing about Instagram can be very weird. Instagram just wakes up one day, tweaks their algorithm, and then you find out that your views are all over the place again. So you need to find a way to like stir the waters and get things going again. And so marriage works for me every year.
But did your mom really call you?
She did not.
Okay.
She did not. And obviously, the first time I posted that picture, because I posted that particular picture before, but the first time I did that, she called me.
Oh.
Right? She called me. I was in the house with her when she called me. I was just in the room downstairs. She was upstairs. So she knew that this was one of my games. It wasn't serious. But then when I posted that this time around, in my head, I was like, so this is doing really well. But there's always a thin line between what is, especially with the kind of brand I'm trying to build, right? There's some things that I wouldn't like to be said, right? There's always, I don't know what it is, but there's always a thin line where between doing something right and overdoing it. So I just don't want to step in there. So I needed to put out a piece of content to let people know that this is that our yearly ritual, nothing deep or anything. So I put that one out. And so in putting that out, I realized a couple of things. I can use this to talk about my conference. I can use this follow-up to talk about my conference, piggyback off the traction of the first one and expose it to a lot more people. And in order to get there, I have to make up like a really fancy story.
So you're a trickster.
You can say that. I will not deny that allegation.
That works. So how has it been for you? From Eric, the photographer, blockchain that probably 12 Nigerians understand. And Eric, the cinematographer, film person, now being a conversation when it comes to social commenting in Nigeria. How does that feel? When did you wake up to that reality that that's what you are? And people think your, your words mean something.
I think it was when I started my tour last year, late last year, my book tour. Because I'm a very introverted person. Extremely introverted. Very much so. Like I just said, we didn't have visitors growing up. So whether or not that affected me, I can't tell because my elder brother is not as introverted as he is. So obviously it's a personality thing. So I create content. I can be in my house for so long, the security guy is wondering whether I traveled. That's the reality of it. And while I was living abroad, I would be in the house for so long. My landlady is like, "Are you home? I just checking on you." Because maybe person no go die for apartment. They don't know waiting drum. That's how crazy. As long as there's food and there's work, I'm good. And so it's easy to lose touch with reality when that's your lifestyle. So when we started the tour last year and I met people, right? People left their homes to come to this thing, and I met, these are not numbers on Instagram or likes.
They're now real
these are
people.
And they talked about the effect and the impact that the stuff that I say has on them. The guy that brought me here today, as soon as I walked in, was like, "I'm sorry, I follow you on Facebook." Usually I would deny. My stance is like, do I look? But I remember I have my cap on, so there's no much, and I literally have the merch. So it's like, and he said, "I listen to you. You know, I know they use waiting you to talk play." When we were in Ibadan, some guy walked up. This guy's, I think he's 49. He's a pastor, and he says, "Myself and my 2 teenage sons, we consume your content." And then I begin to get, I can't count how many times I just had to manage to leave the venue to go back and go and cry. Because hard man, I can't be soft outside.
So hard man, there you be.
You be. Cool. So it's like, but I've been really moved by the people. So as I have a conference coming up on Saturday, I'm getting ready. Like this entire week, I'm just like summoning all my person skills you get and all that. Because you meet these people again, you hear them, you have these candid conversations, and then you see that this is not just air quotes. These things are not just being said into the air. And that's one thing that influencers and celebrities don't understand. They don't understand the power that they have over people. And people don't even have to give you that power. They just have to love you. And then they have this. Okay, so it's like, you don't understand how much power you have as a public figure, right? How much influence you have over the growing child, over the growing mind. And that's a power to shape society. And so I began to realize this when we went out, when we had these conversations, when we had these interactions. I just knew this is ministry. It's service, both to God and to humankind, right? It's more than just talk anymore. This is society shaping life. This is life at this point. So when you meet these people, you start to get the idea of the impact that the work that you're doing kind of like has, and it tunes your mind in a way. And now I'm a lot more cautious, right? A year ago, I used to make a lot of jokes. Like I have jokes for days.
I can imagine.
I think.
Would you tell me one now?
I think I'm funny. In my head, I think I'm funny. At some point, I tried stand up. Yeah, in Enugu.
Where did you stand up? Did you sit down or you stood up?
I stood up.
Okay, where?
So I tried to stand up in IMT. Nobody laughed, so I sat down. and then I tried out. After a couple of months, I tried. So there's this guy MC Lord L. I don't know if you know.
Very good friend.
So he gave me another shot at Gold Value in New Haven. I tried again, nobody laughed. I sat down, I didn't stand up again. I've not stood up again since then.
Interesting. But you could be funny.
I could be.
Yeah, sometimes with this comedy stuff,
it's
maybe because you're feeling like I'm not funny.
Yeah.
It's because some jokes that I've given to Frances, all these comedians, when I say it, it's not funny.
Yeah.
But when they say
so it's all about delivery as well.
Yes.
Which is true. Because I have lines in. Nowadays, I drop content and then some of my comedian friends kind of like text me. I'm like, can I take this stuff? Can I do
you're very funny.
So I try to be funny. But as a comedian, obviously, which is not something that I am, because there's an art to it, there's a science to it. You know that delivery matters more than the actual content.
True.
Right, and that's not something that I may have on a commercial level, right? So, I guess I try.
We would look for that day where Eric Gugua will do a stand-up comedy show, and we'll go for it. Now we want to take a short break. And when we do come back, we'll continue with this conversation. Now, remember, this is Side Talk. My name is Jude Thomas Dawam. We have Eric Gugua here. Remember that you can click on that button if you're not following us yet. There's so much to talk about here. We're going to dive into his content and some of the things he talk about and some of the things he stands for in while he's delivering his content. We'll be back after this short break. Welcome back to Side Talk. I hope that you've rested well and you've followed us already. Remember, subscribe right here. I still have Eric Gugua in the studio with me today, and we are looking at his life. For the past 15, 20 minutes, we've been talking about that. And right now, we're going into the content itself. Eric, why do you want to be Igbotic?
Why do I want to be? I am. I don't have to want to be Igbotic. I am. That's a very interesting question, because somebody says you would hear some. I've heard this from ladies a couple of times. I like the guy. My only issue is he's just Igbotic.
Good.
Are you? How do you say? Are you okay in your Yoruba? How do you say that? Like, is something wrong with you?
Okay.
Like, because in my head I'm thinking, I can't claim to not understand, because we've come to glamorize speaking properly, right? Or, fashioning a lot of ourselves, a lot of our culture towards stuff that's borrowed. So I can't say I don't understand. But it's very interesting when when I deliver sessions in places outside of Nigeria, I don't sound Igbo enough. I sound this way because we're having a conversation here. Like, if I were to be speaking somewhere where I've got friends from the UAE, people from Canada, people from America, and we're just having a chat, right? Best believe that I am on my full Igbo behavior, and the way that I'm talking, you will understand where I'm from. You will not guess, is this guy from America? No. So it's like, I don't try to be. That's my full identity. Like, that's where I'm from. I couldn't be prouder to be from Anambra. I don't know whether you understand. So I don't try to be. And sometimes people say, I always knew you were forming that accent. I always knew that accent is not. In my head, I'm like, how do you know that this one is not the one I'm forming? And that's my home. That's my base tongue, in quotes. So I don't think I try to be Igbotic. I just think it's something I'm proud of.
It's the gene.
It is.
All right, now I want to talk to that Igbo man, because we want to get into your content now, and I would like from now on to speak to the Igbo man. The content you put in, so do you usually, as an Igbo man, I know that the Igbo man is proud of himself and, the work he's put in, the money he has made, the houses he has built, and all of that. Do you think that some women would look at your content and say Eric is too masculine?
I don't think so. I mean, everybody has an opinion.
I want to talk to the Igbo man.
No, sure. I get that. So it's like, it doesn't matter how you present yourself.
Okay.
There are people that are not going to agree. There are people that will hold a different opinion. There are people that will always see things a different way. You understand? So it's like, even if you are the most masculine, you present yourself in a macho way, somebody is going to look past that once they write you. And then try to listen to want to be with you and defend that macho-ness. It's never been, I don't think people understand that when emotions start to talk, Lizzie will take back seat normally. You get? So it's not about the presentation. It's actually about if the attraction is there, right? So there's a way that a man will present himself. You are in your feminine. Yeah, just to a very soft. Somebody will like you and see manly things about you if they are interested in you. That's life. So that's also something that do I think that some people will think that I'm too masculine? That's fine. Up until I remember the name of the first female person that met me at an event somewhere and walked up to me to say hi. Because up until like 12 months ago, only guys approached me to say hi.
Serious?
I'm telling you, like if I went to a function by mistake, because it has to be by mistake, I appear somewhere. The only people who walk up to me to say, I know you, I enjoy your content is men. If you mistakenly spot a woman somewhere, she's whispering to her friend, is that not that guy? You understand? Even if you approach me, I will deny myself.
So does it make you feel somehow? Like, does it make you feel like the content is channeled towards the men alone?
So why do I have more female followers? These paradoxes fool this life. A lot of paradoxes. So it's like, you are talking to men, you are trying to address, which is not something I do, by the way, but you are trying to address men, and then more women are following you. That is because nobody wants to see fault in themselves. And so when you're talking to somebody else, you're going to have a lot of people on your side that are saying, tell them. That's human behavior. So it's not a matter of my presentation, it's just a matter of what are you saying? Is there any validity to it? And then everybody has their own audience. Your audience will gravitate towards your message.
You posted a video yesterday about a boy who bought, I think it's SS1.
Yeah. According to what
we saw online, he bought a Mercedes Benz and he brought it home.
Wow.
And his father told him to return it to where he bought it from. Now, and that's a typical African parent.
Yeah.
Why did that video catch your interest? And what was it you wanted the world to know about what the father did? You don't think the father was mean? His son has tried very hard and brought a car back home.
As Africans, it's not just an Igbo thing. It's an African thing. The black man is a proud man. And that pride is an English word. Let's start there. So It doesn't fully tell the story of what that thing that the African man is. Right? So, but for the purpose of our audience, let us use pride. So the African man is a proud man. Now, that pride is not inherently that version of it's not inherently a bad thing. That pride exists to protect a lot, especially a lot that has to do with our culture. For instance, we all grew up in homes where your father cannot afford a particular kind of standard that is now leaning in your secondary school and your primary school. Does not give you the right to collect it from elsewhere and come and bring it here. Who is your father? You will find out who your real father is that day. Right? It's not dumb.
I agree with you.
Right?
I agree.
We grew up in a time where that your family don't have it does not mean that you will be whining about it. The things are very different now. And we also have to say that every new generation always says that things are very different now. It's not peculiar to this time. But then we see a generation coming up where we are not necessarily minded about some of these things. And it's going to destroy the fabric of society. It is. It's destroying it. It will destroy it. And one of the ways it can destroy it, which is part of what the conversation we've been having all week long in my community, is that we are trying to skip process and get to profit directly, right? Which it messes with the fabric of the human being's essence. I shared yesterday about the young man who was complaining to a British an American podcaster.
Dave
Ramsey.
Yes.
I say at 37 years, I don't buy house, I don't buy car, we are comfortable, I have over $1 million in savings.
He didn't know where to put the $1 million in, and now you bring it back to Africa. What is $1 million worth? Like, that conversation was scary to me, because I saw it on your post, by the way. How do you handle that kind of conversation as an African parent?
I tell my partners this all the time. My manager, my team, my editor, I'm like, listen to me. We are living in the best years of our life. And I usually bring this up when there's a serious hurdle in front of us. I say, this is the challenge that we are facing. How exciting. I'm not forging it. There's no camera anywhere. These things will never see, may never come on the internet. But I'm telling you with conviction in my eyes, this is the essence. Like, how exciting. Do you play FIFA?
Yes.
Do you play FIFA?
Yes.
So you play, when did you start playing?
I think like 7 years ago.
Oh, so you are new.
Yes,
to the business. Okay. So I started playing in 99.
Interesting.
Right? I started PS1, right? PS2. So I started playing something they call Master League. Do you
I heard about it, but
cool.
I don't play.
So the idea of that is you build your own team, you buy the best players and try to compete with the best people. If you play that, the most frustrating time in that year Master League is like the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of your managing that club, because you're having to make trade-offs, right? I know I need to sign left winger. I know I need to sign striker. My goalkeeper is behaving like Onana. I need to put somebody else there, or just put somebody there. There's nothing there at the moment. So it's like, but I don't have the finances, right? Who do I now have to present money plus a player to be able to get somebody that is suitable for this. These trade-offs, these pains, at the time when you are doing that thing, you don't know that that's the beauty of the game. The game, I ask everybody who plays, they call it career mode now. Everybody who plays that thing, when does it get boring? When do you restart it? Everybody has the same answer. It is when you have enough money to buy any player that you want at any time that you want to buy. So your team is entirely star-studded, and you can go 38 games in a season without losing anyone, and you're winning all the trophies available. The spice just leaves. Flavor is not there again. That's when you just ask everybody, they restart it and go back to that phase, that season where they were frustrated. Why? So we are all going to, if you're hardworking, you're focused enough, you're going to get to that point where you can afford whatever you want. The beauty of life is that for the average man, if you're focused, you are intentional about your process, you'll probably get to that point in your 50s, late 40s, 50s, 60s. Then you can enter into retirement and just do whatever you want to do, right? For the exceptions, because these days we treat exceptions as the rule, but for the exceptions, you hit it in your 20s, in your 30s, and if you hit it through process, it doesn't become a problem, because when you look at people like Mark Zuckerberg,
right? Yeah,
he's hit it early.
Yes,
but there's still purpose. They are still building. You look at Oracle of Omaha. What's that his name again? Warren
Buffett.
How many years? 90 years. How old is he? He's still out there doing the work, because that's the essence of living. People who've really put in the work, who have enterprise behind their wealth, they're never looking for retirement. So why are we trying to chase retirement at 25 when we don't know what to do with the rest of the life at 30, at 35? So the idea behind this is the true essence of the work that we are trying to do, of the life that we are living, is in the work that we are doing, and in our ability to communicate that to generations that will live after us after we are gone. Now, that's the point of life, at least on a very secular, very philosophical level, right? How can you communicate life when you have altogether skipped process? That's the core of
that's
the chat.
That's a very interesting one. All right, now, Eric, let's jump into your personal life.
Okay. Do we want to jump there?
Yes, I want us to jump together.
Okay.
We'll dive in.
Let's see.
Let's dive with our heads, not with our hands. All right. Are you in a relationship?
Of course, I am.
You have a girlfriend?
A lot.
Okay. All right. How many?
I mean, it's difficult to put a number to it, actually. But is the get why you ask?
Yes.
Okay.
The reason I'm asking is, I see some of your content, and somehow in my head, I might just be the one. I have a right to my opinion, right?
Sure.
I think I have an idea of a lady you would like to marry or settle with. She would have a certain kind of background, but I would like you to tell me first, so that I will know if it fits into what my
No, you will
opinions
tell me
are.
now. I will not know whether it fits into.
This is why I'm asking you this question. I've seen videos where you explain some wrongs in the society based off what men have done or based off what women have done. You don't stand on one side of the fence. What is the perfect idea of a lady for an Igbo man who is very educated and wants a better life? So I'm talking about you now.
I don't think that there is anything that is okay. So when we say the Igbo man, I would just talk about the African generally.
Okay.
Because I don't think there's a lot that divides us, especially on a cultural level. So I would say historically how we used to do things. The idea of marriage used to be absolute. It used to be absolute, where if you are getting into this thing, you're getting into it. There's rarely a chance. If we go back a little bit, yes, some men used to trade their wives.
Will you cook for your wife? Will you kneel down and give her a ring?
I was with you on the cook. You now proceeded.
Will you kneel down? Will you kneel down and give the lady you want to marry a ring?
To be honest, to be frank, if it matters to her, I will.
Okay.
If it matters but I don't think it will matter to somebody that I am with. Because I say this a lot. Marry people that share your values. Right? I don't think it will matter to her, but if it does, I will. Because it's a really insignificant gesture. In the grand scheme of things, it really is insignificant. It don't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you'll expect her. People will knee finish separate after 7 months. It doesn't add to the fact. We like to celebrate it, and they are sort of rubbish in this generation. Like, does this person will cook for you today if he poison you tomorrow? Right? So it's like, let's have these conversations on a value level, on a shared belief system level. It's not even a Christian thing. Go with who you agree with. Period. So, for instance, we addressed the issue of polygamy, and I was having a conversation with my friend recently, who is, that guy is a snake kind of. I think he's a Muslim, but he's hiding. He's not really hiding it. He's just not being upfront about it, which is one thing. I'm also that kind of a person, right? I want to show you that what I think works, without having to force the religion bit on it. If my life is not if my belief system is not practical enough to work on a social level, then I don't think I should adopt it as a lifestyle. It just doesn't work. If it only works in church, then it's rubbish. This is fact. So which draws my attention back to something I saw online. A young girl, all these queen of the coast people, I don't pay attention to them. Was lighting something, and she was saying that I used to enjoy this guy's content a lot until I found out that it's just masked Jesus boyism. Which is very interesting, because you found a lot of sense in this, you enjoyed it, you found it applicable, you thought it was practical until you found out I was Christian. So the problem is not with what I'm saying, it's with where it's coming from. You have a problem not with the life, it's with the author. I can't help you. Shift from me, please. You don't know whether you're getting me. So I think that on the whole marriage level thing, Go with people that you vibe with on a belief level, on a value system level. If you are comfortable sharing your man, polygamos away. I don't know whether you understand me. Why are you trying to conform to society's standards of monogamy, which is failing for some, and which, to be honest, if we agree with ourselves, monogamy used to mean one partner for life. Now it is one partner at a time. It's rubbish. It really is rubbish. If at 20 you've dated 4 people, you will never be monogamous. Never.
Why did you use the word never so many times?
Do you know? So I made a video yesterday, which I'm yet to post.
Okay.
And it was in response to some things because my mind just races a lot. I don't know. I'm fired up. I need to calm down. Let me
Calm down. Drink water. I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry. I made it do myself. And my mind is moving faster than my mouth is talking. So here's the issue.
Yes.
I was saying, if you get into a relationship as a teenager,
yeah,
and for any reason that relationship breaks, don't enter into another relationship until you're 22. At least 22.
As a female
as
or
a female, as a male, whatever it is that you are, even if you are 2 of them, don't.
Okay.
The idea we have to preserve some things in people don't understand how fragile our subconscious is. It's ridiculously fragile. When you begin to train yourself that options exist, it will exist. Walking down the aisle won't change anything. They know the sheer discipline for altar. I don't know whether you understand me. It's just another ceremony, right? If you love somebody with all your heart and you see forever with this person at 16, after 2 months, you are forever break. You enter another forever. Before you are 22, cease forever. Don't pass through you. That's all I can say. I don't know whether you're understanding me. We need to preserve this idea of the absoluteness and the gravity of the marriage contract, right? So and the reason I say teenagers should be allowed to even date, or we shouldn't abolish that idea for teens, is because I've seen really beautiful things come out of young love, right? People who met themselves at 13 and they're together at 60. It does exist. But if for any reason it breaks, hold on dear, right? And pick it up again when you have crossed a certain threshold. If you meet another person you feel is your LMNM in that time period, if there's anything I know about love, I know that it's patient, it can wait. And if I can do life, if I see you as somebody I want to do life with, you can wait 3 years. You can wait 3 years for me to turn to it, because you need to heal. Heartbreak is serious. I don't think we know how serious it is. We really don't. So this moving on from one person to the other person. So I think that not just for the Igbo man, for the African man, for the man who subscribes to monogamy, you must really be a person and also seek out a person who has your idea of romantic integrity still intact and not tampered with.
Do you think our traditions have watered down after religion came in? Looking at some of these things, because you mentioned monogamy is mostly religious.
Yeah.
Do you think our tradition has been watered down?
I don't think it is, because if you look at the earliest examples of civilization, there wasn't Mesopotamia. I don't remember exactly, but it was a very monogamous society, very much so, right? So yeah, modern culture is heavily influenced by religion when it comes to romantic and all that monogamy. It's played a part. I would say that tradition, I am a big proponent of cultural review, which can be very dangerous. It can be very life-threatening when you try to start to review things that have stood for a long time, right? But I'm a big fan of that, especially even in church circles, when things need to be reviewed, and you can't review stuff without having standards for review, right? So I believe in that. But I also believe that in its way, religion has contributed both positively and negatively to where we are. But whether it has contributed at all, I'm a big proponent of review in all settings. So I'm not saying that it should not contribute. I'm not saying that it should by the nature of religion, it's the fountain from which the person who subscribes to it draws all their life. Right, so there's that also. But whether or not that is the case, I'm just saying whatever it is, religious or not, if it's tradition, if it's culture in a place, it should be reviewed from time to time. So whether or not religion has played a part, it's not really something I'm big on.
Will Eric marry 1, 2, 3, 4 wives?
In this my current life. I'm asking.
Do you have another life?
We are not even sure about the idea of reincarnation.
Yes, we're not sure.
We don't know.
Reincarnation, you'll be a tortoise because I think you're very smart. So, but let's talk about do you think Eric will marry 1, 2, 3, or 4 wives? Looking at the way the things are right now.
Smart men don't marry to start with. So I think that, which is something that please let anybody not ask me to explain on that. I don't have explanation. But one in my view, 1 is okay for me.
Okay.
Especially it's a little bit more than okay. But let's stay with
it. It
that.
could have been lesser than 1.
But where will you see 0.1, 0.5 wife? Yeah, you understand him. Unless you want to go.
Eric, your book. What's the name of your book? We have to talk about your book now because I'm laughing. You're cracking me up. As much as what you're saying has like a lot of value and everything is still funny, and I think that is why people are resonating with you on social media. Yeah. Naturally, like you said, I'm glad you didn't go into stand-up comedy. I feel like that would have buried this.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yes, I feel like it would have buried it because you will make money from there and you'll be like, okay, yeah, I don't need to do this. But this is life-changing because you say some pretty interesting things, thought-provoking things. And I would give it to you. I wasn't expecting this. But I say plus 5 million to you. And we really do appreciate you for coming in. And we hope that you continue in this stride. We don't know what the future holds.
Absolutely,
but,
we do not.
What one last word for your fans and the people who are listening? You've got your book out. Tell us about the book and what to expect next.
So my book is called Christians in Content, not because it's written to Christian demographic alone, right? That. It's not that, but it's because everything I do it on a shared value system level, right? So a lot of the work that I do, a lot of the things that I say stem from my faith, even without saying Jesus or without saying God. That's where I draw my life from. So I thought in my head, these are the people that at least we agree on a value level, right? But I have agnostics, I have atheists. I have an atheist friend who supported that book very significantly.
Interesting.
Who partnered very heavily on that book. So
what's the name?
Christians in Content, The Beginner's Guide to Madness.
Where can it be found? Is it on?
We're working on distribution for the hard copy, but the soft one you can find on Seller, you can find on Mainstack. Just search Christians and Content, any of these platforms. You can have access to the work.
Thank you so much. Please do follow him, his social media platforms. Eric Gugua on TikTok, on Instagram as well. Your Facebook as well. So Eric Gugua, and Gugua is spelled Gugua. So you can follow him on all of these platforms. We want to appreciate him for coming. I'm hoping that you learned something from him coming. At some point he cracked all of us in the studio. Remember to follow us. Remember, just click on that subscribe button. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost any money. It's free, and we have great content for you. This is Side Talk. My name is Jude Thomas Dawam. See you on the next episode. Peace.